All right guys, welcome back. Jerk Block Talk. This is literally the third time we've tried to shoot this video. Tons of technical difficulties. So I'm new to video, so it's like getting on the internet for the first time where everything pisses you off because you feel like an idiot. But anyway, I'm Jason Fernandez. We are here at CrossFit Rife. Today we're going to talk about scaling up. So again, this is not something that you should be doing, you know, really frequently, but it is a tool that you should be using in order to help some athletes and maybe even your gym break through some barriers that you may have in some of the movements or some of the skills that you would see in CrossFit. Specifically today we're going to talk about handstand push-ups. So handstand push-ups is a staple in CrossFit. A lot of people have them, but what I want you to do is I want you to think about the people in your gym. You probably have a group of people that is really good at handstand push-ups, a huge group of people that don't have them at all, that aren't even close, and you have this a big group in the middle that have been stuck in kind of no man's land forever. We've had a ton of people come to our gym, they're like, I've been doing the same scale for 2 years, and I'm like, shit, that's a really long time. You need to be setting things in place in order to help push those people along in that journey. Scaling up is one of them, right? So most people are having handstand push-ups, either kipping or just regular strict handstand push-ups in their programming fairly frequently, probably 3, 4, maybe 5 times a month wouldn't be out of the question. But how do you make that more difficult to take the bar and move it up for the whole group of people, right? So one of the ways you can do that is we can do deficit handstand push-ups, we can do parallel handstand push-ups, we can take both of those skills and we can make them strict, right? So now what I've done is I've given myself a whole new set of options for the handstand push-up on handstand push-up days. And again, one of the things you want to keep in mind when doing some of these higher skill movements and scaling up, if you will, is keep volume in mind. This is not something you want to do, is take this really high skill level movement and then throw a ton of volume on it. It's probably a bad idea. So on those days, keep the volume to moderate or low, and that's probably a pretty good bet. All right, so if most people have handstand push-ups, maybe they struggle with strict handstand push-ups, throw the strict in there. That would be a scale up. That would make the difficulty a little bit higher, okay? From there, start increasing the deficit, right? So I can go 1 plate, 2 plate, 3 plates, until I eventually get to the pallets, and I have to get to an extreme range of motion to where we're getting all the way down and then pressing up there. Okay, so again, what you're going to do is you're going to take that difficulty level and you're really going to bump it up. If for people that don't have the ability to do maybe a strict handstand push-up in the parallels, what you can do is you can allow them to kip. But again, what we're doing is we're slowly bumping up the difficulty of that so that they'll start breaking through on some of those barriers. Some of the other stuff that you can have people do is we don't really use the old, if you guys have been around for a while, a lot of people used to get in the rubber bands and do handstand push-ups in the pull-up rig. We don't really use it anymore because we found out that really after a long period of time, nobody was progressing when we did that. So we basically washed that one altogether. There's some other things you can do that also help with handstand walking. For instance, so most of you know I have kipping handstand push-ups, I have strict handstand push-ups. We can take it into a deficit. We can do in the parallels to make it an extreme range of motion, and we can do strict or kipping there. Another thing that people overlook all the time is just doing a good old wall walk, right? So laying on the floor here, pressing up, and then walking themselves back to the wall until you can get your belly there, and then walking it back out, okay? For your high-end athletes, that's not gonna be a difficult skill, but for your newer athletes, that's gonna be a lot of work, okay? One of the other scales that you can do, and we stole this from NorCal and Pat Barber and those guys, is what we call around the worlds. So what you can do is you can get your knees or your feet up on the box, and then you can adjust this scale as well by how far out or how close you take your hands, and then it's going to be just what it sounds like, guys. We're literally just going to walk around the box all the way around until I make 1 revolution, okay? Again, keep volume in mind there. So think about how long that took. I don't want to program a 21:15.9 of that because it's going to take forever, and all you're going to be doing is smashing the souls of your athletes. But think about it, it's a good skill, really difficult, even for some of your higher end athletes. Throw that in occasionally. And then last but not least, there's a ton of scales in the cherry pickers. So you'd get up on the wall, and then what you're just going to do is you're going to lift your hands up off of the wall, up off of the floor here, and everything from there to touching the shoulder. All right. So again, the idea there is occasionally put some things out of reach for people. You know, a couple years ago in 2012 in the regionals, everybody lost their goddamn mind because Dave Castro programmed 100-pound dumbbell snatches, and turns out like everybody crushed that workout, and all of a sudden people didn't think it was a big deal. Then people were squat snatching it. So occasionally it's your job as the programmer, as the coach, to push the envelope on that stuff, just to make people reach a little farther and get out of their comfort zone. So if you're stuck in something, think about ways you can scale that movement up. Be very cautious about how you program that and how you put volume on that stuff. But that is some ways to really help break through on some things that people are stuck at, okay? If you have questions, or if you have ideas or different things that you guys do in your gym about scaling up that's helped dramatically, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with the community, put it in the comments. If you have questions, please put them in the comments as well. Please like the YouTube channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks a lot, guys.